Today I want to talk about something that either we're about to go through or we're going through right now or we just went through. And that's something called burnout. I want to talk about burnout, but then I want to talk about some things that we can do for burnout recovery. And burnout is when we're doing something, so we enjoy doing something. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's doing YouTube. Maybe it's you're in some sort of sales position, or you're in IT and you love what you do and you love it and you just give your all to it and you really enjoy it. And there are a lot of aspects of it that you would do for free, but obviously you're getting paid. And then something happens. Something like maybe your company starts laying off, or maybe if you've got a YouTube account or you have a YouTube, maybe you start getting negative comments on your YouTube, or maybe you go through some sort of medical crisis, and then what happens is the way you used to enjoy it, you don't enjoy it like that anymore. And so you stop enjoying things. Now, what used to be really easy to do, now it's very laborious. It used to be joyous. You used to wake up, you couldn't sleep at night because you just really enjoyed doing that thing. So what do? So maybe there was some sort of setback. If you were in sales, maybe you had a company that canceled. So maybe there's something that happened. And what happens is we start to get a little irritable. And I've gone through this at different points in my career, but I remember there was one time that I really went through it. And it was really the kind of thing where I started, I didn't want to do anything. I was irritable. I found myself being sad. I was like really pessimistic about life. I didn't want to go outside, in any way, either outside for like I am now, or just outside hanging out and doing things. I didn't want to go anybody. I didn't want to be around people, right? And so I don't know where I've caught you, but maybe you're in that place. Everything was doom and gloom. I was pessimistic. So when somebody had something positive, I might say something negative about it, right? Because there's that duality that happens all the time. There's a good side and there's a bad side. There's an upside. There's a downside. And so it's always there. And now with social media now, everything seems to be close and personal. And so then I found myself blaming other people. I found myself blaming the system. I found myself blaming the company. I said the company messed up. I found myself blaming just really kind of what we call externalizing. I got some birds over there. I don't know what to do. But found myself, it's what we call externalizing, right? And so I just started externalizing, and I really just started blaming other people, blaming the system. It wasn't my fault. I did the best I could. I gave my all, right? And it was almost like I kind of got knocked down, and I couldn't get back up. One of the things that I remember is, I was with a company, and our total existence, came from one form of income. And I remember, the market changed. It was back when we went through the real estate crisis. And man, I just remember struggling. And then the thing is, you can see it coming, but it's almost like you're paralyzed. You know what to do, but it's almost like you can't do anything. It's like you're paralyzed. And I remember, I would watch a lot of television. Man, that was my thing. Grab the remote where I, get my favorite, TV programming. And so, but it was a very hard time. And then I remember, kind of my wife looking at me like, what's wrong with you? You missed the motivation. You ain't looking too motivated right now. All you do is watch television. All you want to do is snack. Okay. If weed is your thing, you might want to smoke a little weed. Maybe you're smoking a little bit more. If beer's your thing, you might be drinking a little more beer. And it seems like that externalizing is the piece that makes it hard to get up. Because when you externalize, it's like your way of saying it wasn't my fault. I did my best. And maybe you did. I'm not saying you didn't. I'm just saying it just makes it hard to get up if you don't take responsibility. And that's what I wasn't doing. It was the system. It was the market. It was the company. They screwed me. Okay? And so if you can get through it, the problem is sometimes it takes years to get through. That probably took me about 2 or 3 years. That's the way it was for 2 or 3 years. And I just remember having a lot of conversations about finances. And so every month, we were short, got these bills coming in, not enough money to cover the bills. Whereas before this happened, there was plenty of money. And so I had to get up. Well, how do you get up? How do you turn this around? All right, so I'm gonna give you some things, and some of this stuff, honestly, it's easy. And what I mean by easy to do, easy not to do. All right, so one of the things that I'm gonna encourage you to do, to just, I go to the gym, I love to ride my bike, I probably ride, matter of fact, if you look at some of the earlier videos, I just recently changed the name to Get Motivated with George, but it was the Motivated Rider. And the reason it was all based around me riding the bike. I love riding the bike. Okay. And so, and I go to the gym several times a week. Okay. And so I love exercising. I always have. All right. I've always been exercising ever since I was in middle school. Okay. I found, exercising to be something, to be very helpful, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about going for a 15-minute walk. So the way I look at exercising is for your health. The way I look at walking is for your mental health. And so what I found is that walking can really help you. Well, what is it about walking? Well, it's bilateral. So it's right, left, right, left. No, this is right. Right, left, right, left. Okay? And what happens is it calms your brain. And you're able to kind of work things through your body. So part of this is your body keeps the score. Your body holds on to everything. And so what walking does is it allows you to calm your brain. So just going for a 15-minute walk every day can be very helpful in helping you get up. That was something I discovered. Now, don't do what I did. So when I started walking, I found it to be so helpful that I would say, I'm gonna go for a walk and I'm not gonna come back until I feel better. And sometimes I come back like 3 or 4 hours later. Okay, so Don't do that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about going for a 15-minute walk every day. Okay, a 15-minute walk. You'll be surprised on what that can do for your mental health, not for your health. Yeah, there are health benefits. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about your mental health. Just getting up. Okay, because I think what happens is when we go through burnout, we get knocked down, but we don't get back up. And you just walking wounded for years. And you're irritable and you're pessimistic and people don't want to be around you, quite frankly, when you're like that. So you alienate your friends and they get tired of hearing the blame game, man. They get tired of hearing you talk about how the system is corrupt and I'm going to go overseas where things are better and I want to get out of America. They get tired of hearing you talk about that stuff. So, 15-minute walk. Now, 2006, I discovered something. And that's something called meditation. And it's one of the reasons I got this channel. I'm doing this channel. This is something that I've been wanting to do for years. I posted my first video in 2006. That was my first video, and it was just like what I'm doing right now. It was the same thing. Okay, but I would get in my head and I'd say, oh, people don't want to listen to that. What if people don't like it? What if people, give me negative comments? What if people judge me? But meditation, what it does is it helps you grow your brain, and it helps you be able to use both halves of your brain. Okay, because your right brain is more of your emotional brain, your left brain is more of your logical brain. So it's helpful if you can bleed the two together. The problem is, as we get older, we're either leaning towards the right or we're leaning towards the left, depending on what we do for occupation. Okay, so meditation will help you blend the two. All right, and then something positive every day. So one thing positive every day. So I would encourage you to, a positive video. And in my opinion, this is just my opinion, okay? Something non-religious. Spiritual is great. Religion, because what happens is sometimes with religion, if there are negative memories in there, it's going to bleed in on this positive thing. That's why, I'm a very spiritual person. I'm not religious though. I'm very spiritual. I mean, I couldn't be here right now. The things that, I've been able to accomplish in my life is truly a miracle. Okay. So I do believe dreams come true. I do believe in miracles. I am very spiritual. Okay, but I'm not very religious. There's a difference between the two. Okay, and maybe that's a video for a later time. So, and then number 4. So far what we got is 15-minute walk every day, meditation, listen to something positive every day that's non-religious, and then take some responsibility. I had responsibility in my situation. I made a decision. There were little markers along the way where things were changing. The handwriting was on the wall. I ignored it. I just said business as usual. So I ignored that stuff. It was there. I ignored it. So I had to take responsibility for my decisions. I had to take responsibility. So you can't change until you take responsibility. You can't change until you take responsibility. You cannot change. So, okay, you said, well, George, I've done all that and none of this stuff is working for me. Then I would encourage you to reach out to a coach or a therapist or someone that professionally that you can talk to. What I realize is I can't put all this stuff on my spouse. And my friends don't want to hear it. Hell, they glad it's you and it's not them, right? So your friends don't want to hear it. The wind is blowing a little bit. So my little stand there is rocking. Okay. So talk to someone that doesn't have any, they don't know you. They don't know your, they're not going to judge you. Okay. And they're going to be non-biased. All right. So that's the benefit in talking to a professional. And I've done that. Okay. I had to get up. This is how you get up. I'm telling you how to get up. Okay. Sometimes we get knocked down, but we never get back up. We got to get back up. You got to get up. Okay. Get knocked down 7, get back up 8. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. All right. And I want to encourage you to get out of the house. So the last point is get outside. Okay. So the walk could do that, but get outside and do other things. You can go wash the car. You can, go out and, walk the strip mall or if you got an outside mall, go out with your friends, go out with your family, get outside. Okay. Enjoy life. This is your life. Enjoy this life. All right. So I hope something I said that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's get motivated with